I didn't find Naruto. Naruto found me. I was in elementary school, 3rd grade, I think. I didn't really fit in. I wasn't the kid people picked first, and I wasn't really the one people noticed either. I wasn't very athletic. I wasn't very socially outgoing. I was kind of an awkward, backward kid. But every day, there was something I could count on. Sitting down with my dad, turning on Toonami, and hearing that opening theme. That's where it started. But you can't really talk about Naruto without talking about Toonami. What was Toonami? Why did it matter? If you didn't grow up with Toonami like I did, it's kind of hard to explain. It wasn't just a TV block, it kind of felt like an event. Every afternoon or late at night, you turn on Cartoon Network and suddenly everything felt different. The tone changed, the music was different. There was this sci-fi vibe, this sense that what you were about to watch mattered more than your average cartoon. And I can't talk about Toonami without mentioning GOAT, Tom. This calm, almost mysterious robot host floating through space, introducing shows like he was on intergalactic missions instead of just introducing episodes. And he didn't really talk down to you. He had this way of making you feel like you were a part of something bigger. It's kind of hard for me to explain, but for me, Toonami wasn't just TV. It was routine, it was consistency, it was comfort, and it was unique. It was something that I could count on in a time where I didn't always feel like I had a place anywhere else. And more than that, it was something that I shared with my dad. He always thought Tom, the robot guy, was super cool. And it just kind of felt like our space. So when Naruto came on, it wasn't just another show in the lineup. It became the show, the one that stuck. The one that said something I didn't even realize I needed to hear yet. The first story that really stuck with me, and the one that made me feel like maybe I wasn't as alone as I thought I was the Land of Waves arc, the first arc of Naruto. It's widely considered by anime fans to be a very good season of television. There are tons of key elements. But in the beginning, Naruto feels lonely, ignored, and desperate to be seen. He's hated by the entire village, literally hated, because of something that is completely out of his control. He has a demon inside of him, the Nine-Tailed Fox, that is responsible for destroying the Hidden Leaf Village and killing thousands. The villagers that survived the attack are still traumatized by it and decide to blame a child for it. They have to point that anger and that grief towards someone. So they point it towards him. And you don't find this out in much detail until later, but Naruto's parents died saving the village. And instead of being grateful for their sacrifice and trying to support their child, he's just left on his own pretty much. Then we see Zabuza and Haku, the two main villains, I guess you could say, of this arc of Naruto. But that's the beautiful thing about Naruto, is in the show, routinely, any villain that you come across is a sympathetic villain. You understand their motives. And Zabuza and Haku are the basis. It's a good introductory villain. It's a good introductory to the characters. So, in this ninja world, Children are often made to be child soldiers to fight in wars. Ninjas are seen as tools, as cogs in a wheel. And you can really relate this to modern life. It's very easy to get stuck in this mind frame of, I'm just another gear turning in a big machine. If you're working, well, almost any job, you feel like you're just a piece of a larger puzzle. And you get lost in that, and you lose your individuality. And that was what Haku and Zabuza represented. They were content with being the tools that they had been told their whole lives that they were. When Zabuza was hired to kill the bridge master, it wasn't personal for him. It was a job he was hired to do. He was a tool to be wielded. And when Naruto talks to him and uses Haku's death to get through to Zabuza, something foundational happens in this world. This little child who had been ostracized and hated by almost everyone is able to pull at the heartstrings of this cold, methodical tool. And he turns against the man that hired him in the first place, and the angry mob. He lashes out. And for once in his life, he does something uniquely to himself. He makes a decision on his own, not as a tool, but as an individual. And so, even in the first arc of Naruto, he's breaking these social norms in the world of Naruto. The Land of Waves arc isn't really about ninjas or missions. It's about what it means to matter. In the beginning of this arc, Naruto starts loud, annoying, and desperate for attention. Because him being ignored hurts more than being hated. Because at least when he's hated, he's getting attention. And when I was younger, I understood what it felt like to be ignored. It's not a great feeling. It doesn't feel good to be ignored by your peers. But it's something that Naruto also dealt with. And I related to him in large part because of how this show started. I wasn't loud like Naruto, but I knew what it felt like to be on the outside looking in, to wonder if anyone actually saw you, to feel like you had to prove your worth just to exist in the same space as everyone else. To go a little bit further on Haku lived for someone else's approval. She only wanted Zabuza's approval. And Naruto rejected that mindset. When Haku said that he only exists as a tool for Zabuza, that hit me harder than I understood at the time. Because a lot of us grow up thinking our value comes from what we can do for other people. Be useful, be good enough, don't be a burden to others. And Naruto completely rejects that. But there's emotional payoff here. Naruto doesn't just fight Haku. He argues with him. He argues with his philosophy. He refuses to accept a world where your life only has meaning if someone else gives it to you. And for a kid sitting on the couch feeling invisible, that mattered a lot to me. It resonated a lot to me, and I might have not had the words as, an 8 or a 9-year-old at the time to really speak about how I was feeling and how that made me feel, but it definitely resonated. It mattered. And then you get to the mic drop moment of the entire arc, when Zabuza cries. Zabuza was supposed to be a monster. That was what he was built up as, the demon of the mist, cold, heartless, and just absolutely untouchable. But in the end, when he's laying there beside Haku, and he realizes the sacrifice that Haku made for him. He cries. Not because he was lost, but because for the first time someone showed him that he was human. That he cared. That he always cared. That moment taught me something. Even the people who act the coldest are usually the ones hurting the most. They use it to mask pain. And sometimes all it takes is for one person to call that out for everything to change. But here's the thing, the Land of Waves arc was just the beginning. It set a tone for everything Naruto would become. A story about loneliness, a story about being seen, and a story about changing who you are even when the world had already decided what you were for you. This was the first time a story ever made me feel understood. Then we get to perhaps one of my favorite arcs of Naruto, and probably my favorite arc of OG Naruto. The Chunin exams. If the Land of Waves was about being seen, then the Chunin exams was about being measured. And that's a completely different kind of pressure that the show introduced. And people love tournament arcs in almost any show, let's be honest. So not to over-explain the plot, because if you've watched Naruto, you kind of know. But Chunin exams, it's a test, it's public. Other villages come and they want to show what their young ninjas are capable of. And they're pitted against each other in combat. Everyone's being watched. Village leaders from different villages are there in attendance. Jonin, highly specialized ninja, are watching and judging. And it's really a good representation of what it feels like to have to be in a position where you feel like you need to prove yourself to others, especially people that you respect. You want to earn their respect. And even when you're young, that's something that you want to do. Whether it be your dad or your teacher or your mom or your grandma, there's somebody that you want to earn the respect and approval of. And for these child soldiers, it was no different. And, you know, the show's about ninjas and stuff, but at the end of the day, that's what they were. They were child soldiers. Naruto knows he's being judged. He knows he's being ranked. And he knows he's being compared to everyone else around him. The Chunin exams arc, to me at least, is all about asking the question, am I good enough? And not in a quiet, personal way, in a loud, unavoidable, everyone has eyes on you kind of way. And for me, again, I related to this because around third grade is where I started having really, really bad problems with my handwriting. And my teachers were constantly on me about it. I've always had messy, sloppy handwriting. And I had to see like an occupational therapist, and it was constantly a source of judgment from my peers. Not to mention I had really bad buck teeth around that time. So I was being bullied for that too, of course. So it wasn't just academic pressure because teachers couldn't read my handwriting, so I was not doing so hot in my grades. It was also social pressure, and then my performance in response to those things. So whether it was grades or just fitting in socially, it always felt like I was being compared to a certain standard. And most of the time, honestly, I felt like I was losing, like I was falling behind. One of the big themes that Naruto introduces in this arc is Rock Lee, the classic hard work versus talent. He's one of the most relatable characters in the entire arc. Rock Lee was the first fictional character that I had ever encountered that made me question everything I thought I knew about quote-unquote talent. He had no natural gifts. He didn't take any shortcuts. He wasn't some sort of prodigy. It was just sheer effort that he got to where he was. Just relentless training. And watching him fight Gaara, it wasn't just cool. it was frustrating. Because part of me always has wanted to believe that hard work always wins. And Naruto kind of tells you that, but Lee showed you the truth. Sometimes even when you give everything you have, it still isn't enough. And that's an important life lesson. That's a very grounded life lesson for children to learn. Because, when you're growing up, you have adults tell you all the time, hey, you can do anything you want to be if you set your mind to it. You just have to put in the effort. But the reality is, that's not true. You can do some things that you put your mind to, sure, but there's always a limit. And it might be set because of your intelligence. It might be set because of your physical abilities. And that's okay. We're all different in that way. Some of us are really good at some things and some of us aren't good at others. And that's okay. In this arc, we also get introduced to the big bad of OG Naruto, Orochimaru. He was not just a villain. When he was first introduced, it wasn't just evil, but he was overwhelming. The kind of presence that makes you really realize how outmatched the heroes are. And from a personal angle, he embodies the feeling of realizing that you're not ready, that there are levels to whatever you're trying to do that you haven't even touched yet. Another really good fight in this arc, of course, is Naruto versus Neji, the destiny versus choice argument. This is a centerpiece moment for Naruto. When Naruto fights Neji, it stops being about just winning a match, just to impress people. It becomes a debate, a philosophical debate. Neji believes that a person's life is decided from the start. From the moment they're born, they have a predestined path. That who you are born as, is who you'll always be. And once again, Naruto debates that. In the second arc of the show, he refuses to accept that. Very passionately, might I add. He fights like someone who's been told that he's not enough for his whole life. And he's fed up with it. As a kid, hearing that message, that you're not locked into who people think you are, who people think they know you as, that you can change, grow, and become something more, I needed to hear that. Young me needed that. And in the end, there is a lot of debate about whether Neji was actually right all along. Because at the end of the show, it come to find out that Naruto is a reincarnation. And he was always destined to fight Sasuke. But at the time, Naruto didn't know that, and I wouldn't take anything away from that moment in the show, where Naruto's philosophy won out over Neji's because of what it meant to me personally. Speaking of Sasuke, can't forget about him. He's a person who always seems to be one step ahead. He's naturally gifted, he's focused, he's driven, he's talented. And if we're honest, everyone has a Sasuke in their life. Someone that you just can't help but to compare yourself to, no matter how hard you try. Feels like you're always trying to catch up to them. They're always a little bit better than you are. A constantly moving goalpost that you compare yourself to. The tuning arc ends by kind of bringing everyone and everything together. It didn't just raise the stakes for Naruto, it made everything more real. It brought that comparison into full focus. It also had a big theme that effort didn't always guarantee success. But it also taught you that your worth isn't decided in a single moment, not in any kind of test, or not even how you measure up to someone else. And as a young me, trying to figure out where I fit in, that meant everything to me. So it's around this time where Naruto starts to gain some cultural relevance in the United States. And with anything that has any type of relevance in the United States, capitalism comes in and merchandising becomes a thing. And this is where I made my first real friend in elementary school because of Naruto. Her name was Chelsea, and she had a Naruto headband. And we talked about it. And then I made another friend named James because of our conversation about Naruto. And then another guy joined in. His name was Cody. And we all ended up getting headbands. I begged my mom for one. And I'll never forget. We were at the Dollar General, and I kept picking it up and being like, Mom, please. And of course, it was overpriced. You know, it was like $9 for this thin little piece of metal on a piece of rubber backing connected to some cloth. But it meant so much to me. So at recess, we started playing pretend as our own Naruto characters. Chelsea, which I gotta give her credit, and if you ever see this, Chelsea, just know that I know you're the first one who come up with Boruto. I'm just saying, it was her idea. She said she was gonna be the son of Naruto or whatever, and she'd come up with that idea. I named all of my make-believe characters Silver, so of course mine was Silver. Basically, I was just a Kakashi clone. I was the sensei of the group. James always thought that Neji was the coolest, so he went with Hyuga, someone who could use the Byakugan. And Cody thought Shino was really cool. So our squad was basically Kakashi, Naruto, Shino, and Neji. A very interesting squad, of course. But anyway, throughout elementary school, I maintained this friendship with these people, playing pretend as Naruto characters. And so just as Naruto had begun to make friends and make and establish social connections, I had done the same. And this is something that I'll reference throughout this video, and I've already referenced it a couple of times as is. Naruto's character development very closely aligns with my personal development. And I've always thought that was really cool. I'm sure I'm not the only person who has experienced that, but it just made Naruto seem much more personal to me. And it was because of this show that I found a social group. Because make no mistake, at this time, you were one of the weird kids if you liked anime. If you liked Naruto or Dragon Ball Z or Yu-Gi-Oh, you were kind of an outcast. You were kind of odd. And you were viewed as such. But without further ado, let's continue with Naruto. So the next arc is the Konoha Crush arc. And listen, this was a big deal. It's not one of my favorite arcs. I'll be transparent about that. But if the Chunin's exams was about this comparison and proving your worth in front of others, this arc was about just chaos, loss, and growing up faster than you might have been ready for. And this arc did a really good job of introducing the concept, especially to young viewers, of partial victory. That sometimes you don't have total victory. So the long and the short of it is, Orochimaru, he's back this time. He's teamed up with the Sand Village, and his goal is to destroy the Leaf and kill the Hokage. Just when you had gotten engrossed in the world of Naruto and the mechanisms and started to understand what Jonin are, what Hokage are, what Chunin are, what these ninja ranks mean and what their responsibilities are, everything's kind of turned upside down. Safety is gone. The Leaf Village is not safe anymore. It shows that it's very touchable. Authority figures that you think are these all-powerful ninjas just turn out to be skilled, but people. And it makes the world of Naruto feel unpredictable and constantly evolving. And you can't mention Konoha Crush without touching on Orochimaru for a second. He isn't just intimidating, he's calculated, he's patient, and he feels unstoppable. So Hiruzen, the third Hokage, Orochimaru traps him on the roof of this building. And he has the Sound 4 erect a barrier that'll vaporize anyone who tries to interfere with their fight. And a lot of fights in Naruto, the vast majority of them are philosophical in nature. Every character has a background. Every character has a story and motivation for why they're doing what they're doing. And this encounter with the third Hokage in Orochimaru is emotional from a sense that Orochimaru is Hiruzen's student. He is his protege. He watched Orochimaru grow up. And so his heart doesn't want him to fight full tilt against his student, against someone who he recognizes as basically his child. And so he's mentally nerfed in this fight against Orochimaru, and he takes advantage of that. The Hokage is built out throughout the show as the strongest ninja in the entire village. He's the grand protector, this constant force in the village, and a person that you likely always felt would be there in the show. And then reality hits with this fight. He's not there anymore, not because he didn't try or because he wasn't strong enough, but because he failed. If he would have given his all in fighting Orochimaru, instead of being mentally nerfed the entire time, he could have won. But his heart got in the way, and that's a very human thing. In Hiruzen's final moments, he's able to accomplish something, at least. He uses the Reaper Death Seal, sacrificing his own life to seal Orochimaru's arms. And he did this in effort to prevent his student from causing further harm. But just to take a moment to tie this back to real-world implications, there comes a point when you're growing up where you realize that the people that you look up to, the ones you think have everything under control, they're human too. They're fallible. And that realization is scary because it means that the world isn't as stable as you thought it was as a kid. And what's crazy is we're not even to the climax of the arc, which is Naruto versus Gaara. Gaara was a foil for Naruto. He was what Naruto would be if Naruto had no one at all. If he wouldn't have had Iruka, if he wouldn't have got attention for being a noisy brat, a loudmouth. Gaara was psychotic. He would kill people just for the fun of it. And he had so much pain and hurt in his heart from being betrayed by everyone who had ever claimed to love him. This fight was a confrontation between two people who grew up the same way, lonely, feared, and rejected. But the difference is what they did with that pain. Gaara let it fester and turn into hatred. Naruto still held on to hope. He wanted to better himself, and he wanted people to accept him for good reasons. Naruto just doesn't defeat Gaara here. He wins by understanding him. He reaches him, and for the first time in Gaara's life, he understands that loneliness doesn't have to define you forever. That doesn't have to be your entire personal identity. And to tie this personally to me, when you feel isolated long enough, it's easy to believe that that's all you'll ever be, that you'll always be alone and isolated. But seeing, even if it's fictional, someone breaking out of that, it was just remarkable. The Konoha Crush arc is where Naruto kind of grows up. Not all at once and not too soon, because of course we have the Boys to Men mission. But enough to realize that the world isn't fair. His world is not fair. and it isn't safe, and it won't always protect you. Sometimes you have to protect yourself. And even in the middle of all that chaos, even when everything fell apart, he still chose who he was, who he got to be. And then next we have the Search for Tsunade arc. So directly following the highs of this amazing bout of storytelling, we get my least favorite arc of original Naruto. It doesn't mean that this arc doesn't matter, because it definitely serves a purpose, and it serves a needed purpose in the pacing of the show. And I mean, I'm allowed to have my favorite parts of the show. This is just my least favorite. After everything falls apart, after all the fighting, there's this quiet moment in this arc. Things don't feel okay yet, but they're not actively falling apart anymore. And this is where we are introduced to, of course, one of many people's favorite characters, Jiraiya, the pervy sage. He's not a polished, clean-cut character, and he's not always serious. And half the time, he doesn't even seem like somebody that you should be learning anything from. But sometimes it's people like that you don't expect that teach you the most. They aren't perfect, they're jagged around the edges, but they're people that stick around, they're people that believe in you, and they have an odd sort of charismatic attitude about them. And that's just true in real life too. So following the loss of their Hokage, of the Leaf Village's leader, they ask Jiraiya to be the Hokage, and he emphatically denies the request, but says that he knows of a young lady who would be perfect for the role. And of course, it's his squad mate, Lady Tsunade. And Lady Tsunade, this is where the arc gets kind of emotional. And of course, this arc is slow-paced because it's more of an emotional pull. And, you know, in a shonen, that's not always the most fun and engaging thing. But like I said, it serves its purpose. Tsunade is one of the strongest characters in the entire world of Naruto, physically. But she walked away from all of it. Not because she was weak, but because she had lost too much. She lost the people that she loved, the dreams that she held belief in. And at some point, it just became easier for her to stop caring. Tsunade's whole thing is about grief and avoidance and depression. There's a kind of tiredness that doesn't come from your body, it comes from your heart. When you try and try and try, and things still don't work out. And eventually, you start wondering if it's even worth trying at all anymore. And that was the exact same place that Tsunade was in. But like I had said before, a lot of Naruto's conflicts boil down to philosophical debates. So when Naruto is pitted against Tsunade, you have this belief versus burnout argument. When he argues with Tsunade, it's not just a disagreement. It's a clash between someone who still believes and someone who's given up on believing altogether. Naruto believes in becoming Hokage, and he knows it's not easy, but he still believes in becoming Hokage because it means something to him. Tsunade used to believe in something too, and that belief cost her everything, including her personal identity and her ability to feel things. She makes this bet with him, saying that she'll give him a necklace if he can pull off the Rasengan, and he had been struggling up until this point to learn it from Jiraiya. And when he finally pulls this off, learning this Rasengan wasn't just about power, it was about persisting, failing and starting over and trying again, and failing and starting over and trying again and trying again and again, even though it would be easier to just quit. And this again compares to real life, because growth doesn't happen all at once. It happens in small, frustrating, tiny steps that don't usually feel like progress, until one day everything comes together and you have progressed. Naruto doesn't just prove he's strong to Lady Tsunade. He reminds Tsunade of the person that she used to be. Someone who had belief, someone who cared, someone who was willing to hope, even when that hope hurt. The Search for Tsunade arc is not my favorite. It's definitely more quiet and subdued. but it is still important. It's about choosing to keep going, even when you're tired, even when you're hurting, even when every part of you just wants to give up. Strength isn't just about fighting harder or having the powers and the abilities to overcome hard and difficult tasks. It's about deciding that your story isn't over yet and you're going to keep pushing. And this is such a resonant topic because throughout Naruto, he keeps teaching. He keeps teaching to not give up. And that belief system of just believing in yourself and not giving up, even though it seems so basic, is so profound. Because how else could a little kid in elementary school learn this foundational lesson if not for an orange, spiky-haired knucklehead? And that's something that I'll always be grateful to Naruto for. And then, lastly, we have my favorite arc of Naruto. The Boys to Men mission, the Sasuke retrieval arc. It's not just another chapter, it's literally the emotional and narrative peak of Part 1 Naruto. Up until this point, Naruto always felt like a story where things would just work out in the end. The good guys would win, right? Even if they had complex motivations, even though they might have decent arguments for their viewpoints, the good guys at the end of the day would win. And they wouldn't win easily, and they might not win cleanly, but eventually they'd win. Everything would work out for the best. The Sasuke retrieval arc is where that belief gets tested to its absolute breaking point. So Sasuke leaves the village in search of more power. Ever since he got the curse mark from Orochimaru, he was tempted to go and get more power. He has one true goal, and it's to kill his brother because his brother killed his clan. This arc touches on so many milestones. Trying to save someone who doesn't want to be saved, watching a friend choose a dark path, and learning that effort doesn't guarantee an outcome that you want. The Sasuke retrieval arc isn't just a mission. It's about chasing someone who's already made up their mind to leave. They already know what their goal is. And Sasuke's need for power at any cost is in the forefront here. He doesn't leave because he hates Naruto. Sasuke leaves because he feels like staying means that he will never become strong enough for his goal of killing his brother. And to him, strength is everything. It's his whole identity. He has to be strong enough to kill Itachi. And from Naruto's perspective, there's a different kind of hurt that comes from watching someone you care about start to drift off. Not all at once, but slowly. And then one day you realize they're gone. This arc hits the hardest for me because it's not just Naruto trying. It's not just Naruto spouting his beliefs and fighting to get his friend back. Everyone shows up. All of Sasuke's classmates, all of Naruto's classmates that are in the same ninja class as him are assigned for this mission. Led by Shikamaru, everyone fights. Everyone puts something on the line to achieve this goal. And even with that, you have this feeling that it might not be enough. The Sound 4 had a run-in with some Leaf Jonin, and they were able to defeat the Leaf Jonin. And the Sound 4 are around Chunin level ninja, but they can boost their power with Orochimaru's curse mark. So you have this sense that these enemies are tenacious and very strong. And throughout this arc, I know this is primarily about Naruto and my relation to him as a character, but I just have to talk, since I'm talking about the show anyway, I might as well say that throughout this arc, every character gets to shine. Neji gets to shine, where you think that him and Kimimaro killed each other. And then Choji, he gets those butterfly wings and absolutely demolishes Jirobo. Hell, even Kiba, I know he's a laughing stock because he's just a dog man. Even he gets some shine in this. Rock Lee and Gaara make a return with Kimimaro and their fight. The drunken fist fight from Rock Lee was amazing, and then Gaara comes in, and they can't even beat Kimimaro. Kimimaro just exhausts himself until he dies. He uses up all of his chakra because he has this mysterious disease, and just right when he's about to win, right when he's about to kill Gaara and Lee, he dies. Even our heroes barely made it out of this fight. And then you get to the penultimate fight. Everything has been leading up to this moment. When Naruto finally catches up to Sasuke, it's not just a fight. It's everything that they haven't said to each other finally coming to fruition. Naruto is fighting to bring Sasuke back, not because it's his mission, but because that's his friend. That was his first friend. And having his first friend, it changed his life. It's something that he will always hold on to because he started off as this scared little isolated boy who didn't have anyone. And then he made his first friend. Yeah, his friend was kind of a jerk and kind of an ass to him, but it didn't matter because at least he had somebody. And he also looked up to Sasuke. He envied Sasuke's strength, and it spurred him on to get stronger in his own right. But Sasuke is fighting to move forward, even if it means cutting ties with the one person that understands him the most, Naruto. If it means that he can get stronger, he will do it. And in this philosophical battle between Sasuke and Naruto, Naruto fights with everything that he has. Everything, even brings out the one-tailed, nine-tails cloak, but he still loses. And it wasn't because he didn't care enough or because he wasn't strong enough, but because philosophically you can't force someone to choose to do the right thing. He couldn't convince Sasuke in things for the way that they were. And Naruto couldn't understand or see things from Sasuke's perspective. And in the end, that's why Naruto lost. And that lesson is a good life lesson to learn. That no matter how much you care about someone, you can't make their decisions for them. It's a hard lesson to learn, but it is a very important one. This lesson that the Sasuke retrieval arc teaches is something that Naruto really hadn't faced before, and even something that I didn't encounter until later in life. But it shows you that effort doesn't guarantee the ending that you want, which is a very reinforced theme throughout the show. But it also teaches that people can walk away even if you love them, even if you fight for them, even if you believe in all your heart in them. They can still walk away. They can still leave you alone. You can do everything right and everything in your power to get them to stay. But at the end of the day, they're their own people and can make their own choices. And that's what Sasuke did here. But it sets up the next part of the show perfectly. Because even after Naruto comes back to the village and his wounds are being treated in the Shinobi Hospital, it sets up this bigger theme of he's not going to stop. He's not going to stop trying to get Sasuke back or trying to convince Sasuke that what he is doing is in vain and that revenge isn't the answer. And that even though he's lost him for now, it doesn't mean that he's going to stop trying to reach him. It just means that this part of the journey has concluded. For years, I had that final clash at the waterfall between Sasuke and Naruto hanging up on my wall. And it meant a lot to me because I got it at a scholastic book fair in like the 5th grade. Toonami became defunct, and those nights watching Naruto with Dad, they didn't stop altogether, but they became largely inconsistent. Because when Toonami went defunct, so did Naruto. So they finished out the first arc of Naruto for Western audiences, and then it just kind of wasn't there anymore. In my personal life, some big changes were coming. My parents are devout Christians, and of course there's nothing wrong with that. I'm a Christian myself. But they felt like it would have been a bad thing for me to go to public school. And so my friends and connections that I had made with some of those friends about Naruto faded. For my 6th and 7th grade years, I was homeschooled, and that feeling of isolation and being alone kind of returned because the only people that I interacted with were adults. But I'll never forget the summer between my 7th and 8th grade year. I had asked my mom to let me play football, and I was able to go back to public school, and I finished school in public school after that. But I remember that summer I had found out from looking online that Hulu, before it was a subscription service, would let you watch, well, maybe it was a subscription service then, but it would let you watch Naruto Shippuden, the next installment of the Naruto series. It was part 2. And I remember sitting there watching it in Japanese with English subtitles because I wanted to watch it so bad. And so I guess this marks about the halfway point of the video because we'll be talking about Naruto Shippuden. And I will say, just a heads up, Naruto Shippuden is not as emotionally resonant with me as OG Naruto was. And there's several reasons for that. One of them being that I couldn't watch it with my dad consistently. I mean, still to this day, Dad hasn't finished Naruto Shippuden. And I think part of him really enjoyed the show, but I think another part of him just wanted to spend time with his son. And he knew that I liked it, so he liked it with me, kind of thing. But I don't know that he would ever go out of his way to finish it like I did. I had such a strong foundation in the show that I had to see it through. I was obsessed with knowing whether or not Naruto could ever get Sasuke back to the village. But the Naruto Shippuden that I watched with Hulu at the time, it was poor quality. Our internet was kind of shoddy, and so I was only ever getting bits and pieces. And when Disney XD bought the rights to Naruto Shippuden for them to air it, me and my dad did start watching it again together. But they only ran that Naruto Shippuden run on Disney XD up until the Akatsuki suppression arc, or when Naruto uses the Rasen Shuriken for the first time to defeat Kakazu. That was the point in which Naruto Shippuden kind of ended for me and my dad. But of course, I kept watching it, so there'll be less personal anecdotes, I guess, for this portion, for part 2, as I ended up using anime sites to finish the show. Like Crunchyroll and Hulu when we could get a free month subscription. So the personal connection is not there as much, but it's still present because it stayed with me all throughout high school and into adulthood. Stop the music. So here's the thing. Making YouTube videos is just kind of a hobby for me. I enjoy doing it, and I hope that this video even makes it up, because who knows with Japanese copyright law, since, well, in Japan, fair use and copyright law isn't really a thing. If you use someone else's product, it's just theft. And sometimes these anime studios are hyper aggressive. I've tried to be very conservative about how I've used footage here, so I guess we'll see. But we're going to have to wait on the Naruto Shippuden breakdown. I would absolutely love, to cram all this into one video and not have to make 2 parts. The problem is, I make these YouTube videos on my phone, and I do not have the phone storage to make a 2-hour-long video as much as I would like to. Because believe me, there is plenty of things to talk about and to discuss. But the fact of the matter is, I'm limited by what I can post and how long the video can be, just simply because of my phone storage. So if this video even makes it up as part 1, and don't get me wrong, I'm not making YouTube videos to make money. So copyright claim doesn't really bother me that much. A copyright strike, though, on the other hand, would suck, because I want to keep my YouTube channel, and I don't want to be restricted by when I can or can't post videos. So we'll just see how this works out, but I will say that part 1 of Naruto is absolutely foundational for my personal development. and I love Naruto Shippuden, and I have plenty of things to say about it, and I do want to do an arc by arc analysis for it. So just hold on, wait on me. I promise I'll do it. As long as it takes me to edit and stuff, it might be a little bit. So just, bite your lip, cross your fingers, hold out for me if you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. And as always, I've been your noisy cricket. I hope you all have a good one. Bye-bye.